just a little bit about what's going on with the program. We've had 15 guys here, all 15 here since July 1. Some of them were here in June, but some of them were. But we've had all 15 of them here. Haven't had any injuries. Sam's got a little ankle issue that we're getting looked at. Nothing serious. JJ's been out for a better part of about 3 weeks because he has his Achilles that he hurt in junior college. We're just kind of sitting him out to basically protect him for the season. You know, you don't win a lot of games in June and July, but guys do get better. So, but everybody else has been here and done a good job, worked hard, doing well in school. And then we released our schedule. Excited about that. Interesting game for us to start the season with Texas Southern, who has a great team. Mike Davis does a good job. Had some major upsets last year, so it's a little bit tougher game that we're used to playing. And then we play at USC, and we got some good games at Purdue. And getting Northern Iowa in our building is big. So the schedule's good. The conference schedule, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you can't take it real. Things bother you where you don't go play. Things bother you that some people don't get to play certain teams. But all in all, it's a pretty good schedule. It's always going to be tough, so it doesn't matter what it is. You're going to miss 2 games, and it just depends. You're basically just looking at a crystal ball. Who's going to have a good team? Who's going to have a bad team? So I think the conference will be up for grabs, and we're really excited. Probably a tougher schedule than our team's ready for, but we got to start playing tougher schedules and think it's going to be a good one.
You guys only have about 6 games really to schedule this year because of prior contracts.
Right.
ESPN deal takes away 3, and New Mexico State takes away 2. You already had the existing with USC. But this year, of those 6 you had to schedule, 5 had to be at home, and you still end up getting 3 NCAA tournament teams in Texas Southern, Northern Iowa, and Purdue on the road. Are you happy with those 6 that you had wiggle room with? Are you pretty happy with what you were able to get out of it?
I think it's a little bit better than we've done in the past. I mean, those guys, I think you've said it before about the NCAA tournament teams. We just wanted to try to stay above 150 in the RPI. What I mean is below 150. We didn't want to go, 200 or 300 and have any of those games. I still don't understand, Jeff, that, and it's probably, I'm not trying to speak out of turn, but I just don't understand why the RPI or the NCAA doesn't, if you play a Division II team, why it's not a 351. I still haven't figured that out because I think we're trying to promote Division I basketball, and to do that, you have to play Division I teams. But some of our teams in the league have done a really good job scheduling them. We just don't do that. So that's a little bit different to get the games that we got an extra game this year, bringing Northern Iowa in here, and we won't be on the same side as them in Hawaii, so that'll help.
You guys do have the opportunity to play D2 teams in the regular season like some other leagues do.
Mm-hmm.
You guys haven't done that. Is that something you just
We just haven't done it. It's just one of those things. Maybe we should look at it. We've talked about it, but we've just tried to play as good a D1 team as we can play. And some of them do it because of travel. Some of them are close, and with our situation, we could do and play 2. We got 3 of them in our state. We could play them for a regular season game, but I think the biggest thing for us is just to try to play Division I and promote Division I basketball.
Was there any talk this year about getting back on that ESPN 24 hours?
Yeah, we did. We talked to them about it. It just didn't work out. They wanted us to play like it. I think it was like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. It might even been 4 a.m. East Coast. It was kind of a bad slot for us. You always want to do anything you can do with ESPN because they've been great for our program by letting us play in the tournaments we get to play in. Like this year's an ESPN tournament, next year's an ESPN tournament. So they've been really good with us. We've had discussion with that. Hopefully down the road we'll have more discussions on that and tournaments that they put on.
You guys had obviously last year you guys lost from the previous season 3 big pillars of the program kind of got
Mm-hmm.
knowing that going into the schedule last year, maybe it was scheduled down a little bit from previous seasons. This year you have some inexperience. Obviously Cullen's coming back, but he only played 2.5 games last year.
Right.
Hugh's gone, Delaney's gone. Did you use any of what this team is, what you project this team to be in your scheduling philosophy and who you did?
Well, I just think I had to challenge them. The only thing that I do that we haven't had here, that we got 3 guys coming back that have played Division I basketball. I think Cullen, if you go through it, I think he's played over, I don't know how many exactly games. We played 34 his first year, so he's played 34 that year, and he played 3, so he's 40 games into Division I basketball. And Tim and Elijah played. Tim played 2 years Division I, and Elijah played as a freshman. So, you're counting on a little bit of that experience. Now, we don't know if that's going to happen, but, we just thought we need to challenge them to get ready for conference. And, I think our schedule does that.
Coach, even with just getting to some teams, like even some of the other names out there that may not be on the schedule, how hard is that still really hard to get some teams to want to come here because of fans and all that stuff?
Well, I think it's, when we've had a lot of reports over the summer about how great our place is and how hard it is to play here. And, we have still won 80%, even though, we were right around 500 last year and didn't play well of late with injuries and everything. But, we just struggled. So I think just the name, the stuff that we've been through with the reputation of the pit, I think that's hinders some people to play. I've known Ben at Northern Iowa for a long time, and he was willing to play, so that was good because they were looking for that exempt game in that tournament, and it's always good to have one of those, and they can play us and then head over. And, it's hard to get games, and the thing that's really, really hard is, the pricing of games. And that's something you have to take into effect, and we try not to overextend ourselves, but sometimes now with the things going on in college basketball, sometimes people can get a lot more money playing at different places also.
How's Cullen's health?
He's good. He's we haven't let him do a whole lot of 5-on-5, but he's probably 2 weeks playing 5-on-5 and doing some things and playing. He's gained a lot of weight and worked on that, but this will be our last practice today for the summer because guys are out of school on the 24th, and then they'll go home, and I won't see them till the 14th when we have our first team meeting. And some of the guys will take some time off, some guys will stay here and work out. So he's going to go to Las Vegas with me and the family and hang out there for a while, and then he'll be back and get back after it. But he's ready to go. He's eager. Well, I think it made it easier because our tournament's out here west. It was harder because we went to Charleston and Puerto Rico, and before that was St. Thomas. You really don't want to play that exempt game on the road. You can play it going out to those tournaments, but we really didn't want to do that because we want to play as many home games as we can for our fans, and also for just because it's our home and we like to play here. So we're going to try to continue to do that, maybe get more. But that's what we've tried to do. USC falls out next year. Arizona comes on the road, and we got UTEP that's going to come back here home. So we're just going to split those 2 games. So every time we go, when Arizona comes here, we'll play UTEP there. When we'll flip it. So that's our plan right now. So that's going pretty good.
Is getting one of the in-state D2s back on the rotation?
Yeah. The only reason why I didn't do that this year is because I had a the game's big. I mean, the game in itself is big in our lives, but it's not the end all. The only reason why I played Pueblo is because Dane Kuiper's brother plays there, and that was a decision I made, a family decision, a team decision that Dane's committed to us, and it's my responsibility that he's part of the family, and I thought it was kind of cool that he can go play against his brother one time. And his brother can come back here and play in the pit. And that's the only reason why that was done. And they're not very far away, but we'll get, I got great respect for all the programs in the state, and we try to give back as much as we can. And it's just one of those things where I did that. That was a family decision. That was a decision I made as a dad more than as a coach. He's big. Well, I think what impressed him, is his size. I mean, he's, as long as I've been here, I don't think there's been anybody here that's as big as him. He's 2 inches bigger than Alex. And Alex is in great shape right now. Alex is playing at a high level. He's probably playing at 245. Big Nick's about 257, 260. He's just a big person. But, he's got a long way to go. but he's something that's unique for us to get a kid that big that's 7'1" his size, and he's 20 years old. So we'll have him for 4 years hopefully, and if we do our job and he does really well, he'll have all kinds of options overseas. But just really happy to have him. He can shoot it pretty well. He's big. He's got to work on his footwork like all bigs do, but we'll spend a lot of time with him. And the one selling point that was good for us is the last few big guys that have come through here since we've been here, pretty good. I mean, if you go through what we did with Daniel Ferris and what we did with AJ and what we did with Drew Gordon, what we did with Cam, what we did with Alex, pretty good track record. So, I think his people back home looked at that, and hopefully he'll help us. He'll play this year, and one thing I know he'll be able to do is set good screens and be able to take up space. But he can make the 15, 16-foot jump shot, and he's pretty good with his. His back to the basket, but he's an excellent passer, and that's one thing I think will help us.
How about the other newcomers?
They're good. They're good, and I'm excited about them. We haven't played a game yet, but we've, I think one thing all three of them do that we definitely needed was shooting. I think all three can make shots, and and with Elijah and Cullen coming back, you're adding 5 guys that can shoot the basketball. Where I think. We can go over numbers and do all the things we did last year, but late in the game we just couldn't make shots when we needed to make shots, and I think those 3 guys are able to do it, and they're doing a good job. I think the biggest adjustment's been for school for them, but it's good to get them here early, and it's different to be out there with 15 guys at practice because usually we've only had 10, 11, but it's a unique deal. Well, I think Cullen has, just because he's been here the longest. I mean, he's been around the program since he's been here. So I think he has. I think Tim Williams is silent, does it by example, and I think Elijah tries. So it'll be interesting to see how all that pans out. I think the most improvement or the most excited I've been about somebody was X. I think he came back better shape. His body looks better. I think the elbow injury really hindered him, his shooting. I think he had a lot of pain that he really didn't want to talk about because he just wanted to play. I think that's been fixed, but he came in great shape. He's played really, really well, and I think all our wings have played really, really well. We got great size, and I think our athletic ability is pretty good. But we got a lot of work to do, and we'll see what happens.
Coach, what about Tim Williams?
He's good. He's kind of hard to describe. I think, he's not going to wow you with playing above the rim, or he's not going to beat guys up and down the floor. He can when he has to, but he just kind of knows how to play, knows how to use his body. I call it old man's game. And the reason why I said that is because when you're young, you go play at the Y or the boys club, and you can see all the older guys that are playing, and you look at them and you're like, oh, we're going to kill these guys. And then they end up running you, because they know how to play, they know how to use their body, they know how to pass, and Tim's got that. Now, he's going to have a little bit of adjustment, but he gives us a low post score that we've used to having, and he'll help us with that, and he can definitely do that. Well, I think Obach has had a good summer, and I think one thing that's really, really helped him that nobody's really talked about is he's playing without his brace. This is the first time he's played without that big, bulky brace. And, I think it's really got him able to run like he's capable of running. I don't think that's a crutch or an excuse. I just think that those things they hinder you. I think they're big and bulky, and the one he has is big and bulky, and his legs are little enough that he doesn't need anything big and bulky on him. So, I think he's kind of like a horse that's a little bit free, and he's running better and doing some things. So he's progressing nicely. He's still got to work on going over his right shoulder and doing some things, but he's healthy and doing a really good job. He's worked hard in the weight room, so I think our guys are getting stronger, but he's done a good job.
You mentioned Kuiper. You expected a guy like that this season?
I think he's going to be the surprise of the class, just because he does a little bit of everything. Now he's got to pick up some things, and it's accelerated, but he played on a very good high school team, a well-coached high school team. He picks things up, but he can do it all. He can rebound. He can guard. I think his biggest strength's guarding. People don't talk about that, but he can shoot it. Good athlete, so he does a little bit of everything. I think he'll bring that to the table, which we're going to need.
Would you plan on playing him at the 3?
Yeah, where was I going to play him?
No, that's what I said.
Yeah, that's all he is. He's a guard. He's a guard.
Can you get back to the conference schedule? I noticed
Mm-hmm.
you play every other game in the road the first half, and then the second half it's 2 games here, 2 games there. I mean,
It's kind of a different thing. I don't know how they do that, but I mean, it's. I don't mind the. I don't mind. I've always been one of those guys that I always thought was cool if you could have travel partners, because I think it's easier for the kids academically and also rest wise. But with 11 teams, we can't do that. I guess they try to do it from everybody. I mean, I haven't looked at everybody's schedule. Some of you probably have, but I guess they tried to do it with everybody. It was, way home, and then 2, 2, and 2. So, I think it is what it is, and I really don't try to take too much into it, if that makes any sense. I think you just try to prepare your guys and get ready. You don't talk about who you don't get to play and who you got to play and where you got to go. And I think you just take it as it comes. And I know Coach Shyatt sent me a text and wanted to send me up there on a vacation so I could experience Laramie, since I'm not going up there this year. But that's I'm going to miss the overtime games. But we've had great games up there, and we had great games here. So. We're not going to go there, and so that's a little bit different for us, because since we've been here, we've always went there. Well, guys, I really don't know what's going to happen with these rule changes, with this 30-second shot clock. I think they wanted to get more freedom, get more offense, get more scoring, but if I'm most of the coaches that are coaching Division I, they're going to look at it and say, shot clock, we can 2-2-1 press and fall back 2-3 zone and make people do what they can't really do, and that's shoot the ball. If you look at the numbers over the last 8 years and you really study the college game, shooting's gone down 6-7% a year. And, from the start 10 years ago to now, shooting has decreased. Now, we got a lot of good shooters, but a lot of people play zone to make you shoot the basketball. And I think we saw zone more than we've seen in 8 years last year, just because people knew we couldn't shoot the ball very well. But, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. Now, I think we're going to try to play how our talent is. We'll play as fast as we can play, but, we don't have any, when we played with Alex and Cam, we tried to run a little bit, but then I finally realized that we had to play smash mouth, and we did that, and we're really successful. And we let Kendall do his thing when he could, and let guys have a little bit of freedom. But this year we don't have a Cam or an Alex, but we got Tim Williams that we're going to have to get him some touches. But we'll try to play a little bit quicker and do a little more ball screening and transition. You can play a little quicker and shoot a little quicker when you got guys that can make shots. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with how people are going to play as far as zone pressing with that shot clock. And the one thing that's going to change that I think people don't realize, and I still think that this is there, is the 5-second count. I think that'll have an effect. I think it depends on how well Tim plays and how well Jordan plays and what we get from the other guys. I'll play him wherever we have to play him for our team to be successful. But to start, he'll have the ball, and then if we're struggling with scoring, then we'll get him off the ball. But that's going to be dictated on what happens with Jordan and Tim, and that's why we recruited Jordan to come in. But one thing, guys can play really well, but yeah, they played really well in 30, 25 minutes a game last year, but we're only a 500 team. And you have to see the clear picture. If you're a 500 team and you played a lot, then how valuable were you? And I think Tim Jake's going to be really valuable, but he's got to be one of those guys. And I told him the other day in practice, you can't play the last 4 minutes of the games if you're not going to make free throws, and you're not going to be able to be an offensive threat. And I think he's worked on that. And I think he's going to be a hell of a player for us his senior year. And then Jordan has just got to get up to speed, and he's very talented. So it's going to depend on how much Cullen plays off the ball on how those guys go, if that makes any sense. And I think those two guys are very capable. That's why they're here, and that's why I was able to play Timmy last year. So Timmy knows what to expect. Anything else? Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.